Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. If you love anime, heartfelt reactions, and deep dives into symbolism and themes, then you're in the right place. Before we jump into today's reaction, don't forget to hit that like button to show some love, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a moment of fun. And if you want even more exclusive content like early access to my reactions, full-length anime watch-alongs, and an amazing community of fellow anime lovers, then please do check out my Patreon. You can find a link in the description box below. Your support truly means the world as it helps keep these reactions coming, and I'd love to have you join our cozy little anime family. Today, we are reacting to episode 10 of series 4 of Attack on Titan. And the intro is not going to be as long as the last episode because I kind of started talking about theories and then I went on a tangent. So I'm going to keep this really freaking short because I kind of want to watch what's going on now. And I tried to keep the intro short so the outros can be longer. But I can't wait to see this next episode because we kind of spent episode 9 with Armin wrestling with could things have gone down a different trajectory. And for me, who's also been kind of really wrestling with that as well, as a viewer, I kind of went on the same journey as Armin in that episode. So it was very symbolic for me because we were both wrestling with this idea that could things be different? Could we have gone down a different path? And both of us came to the same conclusion that there really is no other option here. But at some point, the cycle has to be broken and you have to question when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen. But I just liked that me and my boy Armin got to have our emotional, philosophical, contemplative moment together as we came to the same decision that there really is no other path. They're kind of forced between a rock and a hard place, and it's difficult, but they were never given an option otherwise. Marley was never going to allow them to have peace, and they have to do what is best to protect themselves. As EREN says, if you want to win, you have to fight, and if you want to live, you have to fight, and if you want peace, you have to fight for it. What other choice is there? But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 10. I was about to say episode 9, but it's definitely not episode 9. Oh, so he is locked up. Okay, yeah, makes sense. It's like he's motivating himself to pursue what he needs to do for the greater good of humanity. It's like he's wrestling with himself. It is cool. Stop shouting at her. She's trying to bond with you.
初めて会った時なんて一晩中巨人について語り明かしたじゃないか。私は確信してた。君がヒストリアを犠牲にすることはないって。
She's trying to find common ground with him because she's been fascinated since series 3 about him like kind of talking to himself. She's like, what the fuck's that about? And Leva's like, it's just a phase boys go through. And she kind of probably bought into it at the time, but now she's kind of like, this is happening too often and it's been way too long for it to be a phase, EREN. So yeah, Hanji's like, at some point EREN needs to speak to people. He can't just bottle it all up. But I think part of the reason is he's scared that maybe people will try and stop him and then he has to eliminate them to push forward because they can't stop him. He has to push on. He has to fight. He has to keep going. The fight is because he's motivating himself. It's like he's wrestling with the desire not to do this because he knows what he's got to do is horrible. But he's trying to push himself to do it because he knows it's the only way in which to protect the people he loves and cares for most. Am I an EREN defender? I feel like people could come to me and be like, EREN's the worst person in the world. And I'd be like, no, listen, let me explain why he's not. I feel like I'm gonna defend EREN till the day I die. I feel like EREN could do the worst thing ever and I would still be like, oh, my baby, don't worry. I'll find a way to defend you. I'm at that point now where I feel like everything I say is in justification of Eren and defending Eren. And again, I don't want to condemn him as horrible until I fully know the picture. And again, even if I fully know the picture, I'm probably going to be like, he had his reasons. Am I the problem? Maybe I'm the problem. I'm the issue. I should go to therapy. Oh, okay, we're going a little bit back in time as well.
船ごと担ぎ上げられて以来ですね。これからよろしくお願いします。
いいえ、今後もお前らとの接触はない。顔を見せたのは最大限の
He's a
情報。
celebrity.
それで十分です。今日はめでたい日になる。パラディ島唯一の友好国。
The East.
その特使、清宮あずま人。
So she has always known, she's always been on their side.
この家紋に見覚えはございませんか？
これは
見せるんだミカサ。
でもこれはお母さんが秘密にしてろって。
She's related to her mom.
俺には見せただろ。その秘密はきっとこの日のためだ。
この印は死んだ母の一族から受け継いできたものです。
Tattooed onto
私
her
も自分の
skin.
子に託すように言われました。
そして巨人大戦後、ヒーズル国は敗戦国として立場を追われ、その混乱の最中、将軍家の忘れがたみ
Was it her mom?
取り残されたのです。あなたは我々が失った一国の主の
No!
ヒーズル国の希望です。
Mikasa's gonna be a queen? Or ruler? What?
とにかくヒーズルが利用できるなら何でもするんだ。これ
Crazy. It couldn't be her mom, but like her mom would descend from that line then.
それこそ奴らの思うツボだろう。
I realize the age of time doesn't quite line up.
海でつながる世界においてよちよち歩きを始めた赤ん坊に過ぎん。
だって手首の包帯誰にも見せなかったじゃない。
I never questioned
これは
it.
その
なんか嬉しそうだな。
嬉しいんだよ。私たちは生まれのことで重い荷物を背負う者同士なんですよ。
Just someone to relate
ミカサ
to.
が一緒ならこんなに頼もしい人いないよ。
Oh, Historia, I love you so much.
本日は両国にとって歴史的な日です。
I knew there was more to her when we first met her.
ジーク・イエーガーの存在が不可欠でした。
Fuck.
私どもは彼と密会し、ミカサ様への取り次ぎを条件に、ある取り計らいに賛同しましたことを報告させていただきます。
So Zeke is pulling all sorts of strings here to ensure they have allies, but it also makes sense as to why she left. She didn't stay because she knew something was going to happen, but she had to show her face nonetheless to avoid suspicion, which makes sense. Very smart, very crafty. But she left, and I went, why did she leave? It's as if she knows something's about to go down. She fucking did. She knew. She knew something was going to happen. She may not have exactly known what was going to happen, but she knew something was going to happen. But now the question is, when she greeted Willie, she was telling him how brave he was. Was Willie in on it? I don't think so, because he was kind of intent on working with Magath. But then it starts to make you kind of go, did Willie know more than maybe he was letting on? Because this show kind of does that to you, where you think you know what's happening, and then all of a sudden this character actually knew about this like 4 seasons ago, and you're like, what? Like Mikasa's armorist, never questioned it, was just like, just a character decision. It's just part of her aesthetic. Never really noticed it, never really paid much attention to it until now. Amazing, amazing. And it's all linked to her being the descendant of the lost ruler of the Hisaru people. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, but that's crazy. That's insane. Okay, so Mikasa could essentially be a ruler of the East if she wanted to be. I don't think she would. I don't know if that would be a life she wanted to lead for herself. Probably not. But it is an option, and his story is like, we can relate because we both have this big burden on our shoulders because we were both destined to be rulers without ever having the option to really say no. Neither of us wanted it, but both of us had it thrust upon us, that responsibility. But yeah, just the way that she was saying to Willie, like, you're really brave, blah, 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 blah. And then she left, and Willie was like kind of really reciprocating that energy with her. Now I'm like, did he maybe know? And was this all part of their larger plan? But he's like manipulated Magath into agreeing to everything. Or maybe he didn't know, and him and Magath thought that they were getting ahead of those that were trying to bring them down in Malay. And maybe it is that, or maybe he did know more. I guess we'll find out. But like, Zeke is pulling strings everywhere. It's insane.
傾いた国家が大国に返り咲くほどの産業を手にするでしょうと提案してきたのです。ですがそれが事実なら、この近代化の時代において金銀財宝に等しい資源が眠っておられるのです。
私は出汁に使われただけでは。
Oh, she's not going to be happy about
匂い
this.
に鋭いから交渉はうまくいくってイエレナが言って
They're
た。
looking how to enhance their
やはり
own
儲
riches.
け話もなしにこの島に来る危険は冒せんというわけじゃな。
それでジーク・エーガーとの取り計らいとは一体何でしょうか。
ご存知の通り、ジーク・イエーガーは秘策があると主張し、それにはヒーズルの介入が不可欠だとしています。
But they need to know if
こ
they're
ちら
going to
は
agree to
地
the
ならしのこの
terms.
島を守るために必要な3つの過程です。まず1つ目は地ならしの実験的活用。
A
その
test
力の
run?
一部を公開し、世界に破壊力を見せつけるのです。そしてその期間における始祖および王家の血を引く巨人両者の継続的な維持。これが3つ目の過程。ジークは獣の巨人を王家の血を引く者へと継承。
The only other
その
person
者
would
は
be
13年
Historia.
の任期を終えるまで可能な限り子を増やすこと。
今私たちが助かるためなら、こんな解決不可能の問題を未来の子孫たちに残していいのか。
わかりました。私は獣の巨人の継承を受け入れます。
I had a gut reaction. I was like, huh? So he's saying, okay, I need to pass this on, and then Historia needs to keep having like a shit ton of kids to essentially keep it in the family line, just like her family has done. So then trapping her back in that cycle that she's already broken away from. I kind of understand what he means, but at the same time, you're just replicating the same cycle that Historia's fought to break away from. This is why she didn't eat EREN, why she didn't take the serum to begin with, because she didn't want to do that. Hanji is correct. It's like, it's a temporary fix. It doesn't solve anything because it's just going to keep forcing their descendants to replicate the same cycle. So surely then there has to be a way to break this cycle, to break this chain, which again could come down to sealing away the 9 Titans so that nobody has to be burdened with the responsibility of inheriting them. That no child has to be born with the sole purpose of only existing to inherit a Titan, which is going to drastically shorten their lifespan. The Rumbling's a dangerous game. I hope Historia doesn't take the Beast Titan. There has to be another way. Yes, Eren. Speak up. It's not worth paying.
ジーク・イエーガーの計画は到底受け入れられません。地ならしの維持に我々の命運を委ねるのは危険です。残された時間の限り、あらゆる選択を模索するのが
Exhaust them first. The rumbling shouldn't be the first option that you stick to. She's crying because he's sticking up for her. He's defending her because the idea of her being bred like livestock is heinous. That her only responsibility is to be bred for the sole purpose of passing this on, but to push that burden onto her descendants. She broke this cycle, so then to force her back into that cycle is cruel, and Eren knows that. Historia could have killed Eren. She could have taken that ability for herself, and she didn't. She saved his life, so he is going to do whatever he can to ensure that Historia gets to live the life that she deserves. She finally has her freedom. She broke away from that toxic cycle. Why would he ever agree to a plan that forces Historia to become a slave to the will of somebody else again? Not happening.
でも君がなぜ単独行動に出てこの島を危機に追い込んだのか
Okay,
は
so
わからない。
him going wasn't part of the
もう
plan.
ヒストリアはどうなってもよかったのかい？
俺は潜水の巨人を食いました。つまりどれだけ深く固い地下に俺を幽閉しても無駄だってことです。俺はいつでも好きな時にここを出られる。つまりハンジさん、あなたに何ができるって言うんですか？教えてくださいよ、ハンジさん。他のやり方があったら教えてくださいよ。
EREN!
エレンのエッチ、いまだに反抗期かよ、バカ若者。
What's going on with you, my boy? Angie doesn't deserve that.
あんたの唯一の失策だ。なんで私なんか団長にしたんだよ。
Oh, Angie.
もっと体をいたわらないと。
What the f- What the fuck? Huh? What? Small Eastern nation with its own unique culture, whose head of state is called a shogun, producing many talented engineers, Hizaro has flourished in weapons and aircraft development and was at one time an ally of the Oldian Empire. The crest of the shogunate depicts 3 single-edged swords in its design. So, is that where they got the airship from? Possibly. I thought maybe Hanji had developed it, but it makes sense that if they're flourishing in aircraft development, that they get it from them instead. Why is Historia pregnant though? Like, what the fuck is going on?
やっぱり俺たちの定義通り、ジークは島に着くなり巨人にしたヒストリア女王に食わせるべきだったんだ。それがまさかガキを起こしらえ遊ばされるとはな。
Is it a fake baby? Like, is it a fake bump to protect her? Because then she can't eat Zeke because she's already pregnant? It has to be fake, right? Like, there's absolutely no way that it's real.
所詮は下船の身に過ぎない名ばかりの女王様ってことだ。おい、
Disgusting. Don't talk about her like that, you fucking
女王には
freak.
相手を選ぶ権利がある。同じ地で生まれた青年だ。幼少期は女王に石を投げつけていたらしい。構ってほしかったようだ。
Or maybe she is actually pregnant.
孤児院を手伝っていたのも罪悪感からだと。何年も顔を伏せたまま下働きを務める彼に気づいたのは女王の方からだった。
誰かが助言したんだ。妊娠しちまえば巨人にされずに済むと。家で何違いない。あの女。
So she's actually pregnant, but she's done it on purpose. I thought maybe she's actually faking being pregnant.
ジークは命拾いしたんだぞ。おい、もう一本持ってこい、マネージ。
She doesn't look happy. She looks really depressed.
ニコロ、おすすめはこいつだろ。
What are they up to? That sounded really fucking ominous.
それで地ならしに頼らずヒストリアが辛い目に遭わなくて済むんなら、わらでもすがるしかねえよ。
So maybe she is actually pregnant.
この暑い中ご苦労様だよ。
But I genuinely was like, maybe it's a fake baby bump.
お前ら、図体ば
But
かり
then,
でかくなりやがっ
if
て。
it was fake, it probably gets discovered. So maybe she actually is.
アズマ人から返事が来た。
それで
ダメだった。ヒーズル国は取り付く島もないようだ。や
Okay.
はりヒーズルはパラディ島の資源を独占取引したいのだか
For their
ら
own
他
gain.
国との貿易に協力などしない。そして世界はパラディ島が災いの種であり続けることを望んでいる。
じゃあ俺たちは地ならしに
So has he gone to Marley to protect Historia and prevent the rumbling from happening?
こちらの意図も計らず勝手に悪魔だって決めつけて、どうしてみんなが平和になる道を考えられないんだ。
I'm with you,
それ
Armin.
はわからないからだと思う。私たちが何者かわからないから恐れている。
だから会いに行こう。わからないものがあれば理解しに行けばいい。
So what? They're going to go on diplomatic missions, like to different countries?
マーレに拠点を設けて潜入か。
ハンジさん、そんなこと考えてたんですね。本場のマーレ料理に舌包みを。
俺何持っていこう。腹を下したら大変だよな。
胃薬と
Lovely.
故郷の味を何か。ハンジさんの話聞いてた？
They're just thinking of the
平和を望んで
food.
いることを世界が知れば何かが変わるかもしれない。
But something's going to make them realize that there's no other option. Unless Eren just goes, we're not even going to give that a
もう
try.
少し時間があればな。俺の寿
Oh,
命
he's
は
5
5年と
years.
あ
I
と
keep
少ししかない
forgetting that there's been so much time between. It's
そろそろ
not
決めな
8
きゃいけない。
years.
俺の巨人の継承者を。
私が引き継ぐ。
お前じゃダメだろ。アッカーマン家が何なのかまだ分かってねえんだ。
Fair.
何よりヒーズルといろいろやってこってやつが巨人になってどうする？
じゃあ他に誰が？
俺だ。まず俺はエレンよりはるかに頭がいい。土地狂って死に急ぐようなこともなく、いついかなる状況でも優れた判断力を発揮できる。
I don't think John would volunteer,
それが
but
俺だ。
kind of makes sense.
お前のお下がりは気に入らねえな。実際俺以上の人材がいるか？
そんなすげえやつを13年でミスミス死なすわけにいかねえだろ。アホか。
あ？
エレンの巨人は俺が継ぐから。な、それがいいだろ、エレン。
よくないですよ。あなたはバカなんですよ。
え
じゃなくて、バカにそんな重要なこと任せられるわけないじゃないですか。
Eh?
よだけなもう
Like, how do
私
I
が継ぎますよ。
explain this?
実践経験もあって信頼できるのも私たちくらいなら消去法で私しかいないじゃないですか。
お前ら。
All of them are willing to make that sacrifice if needs be.
いや、だから、バカには任せられないって、お前が言ったんだろ。お前は俺よりもバカなんだから、お前、言ってることが矛盾してるんだぞ。俺はお前らに継承させるつもりはない。
なんでだ？
Oh, I love them
お
so
前らが大
much.
事だからだ。他の誰よりも。だから、長生きしてほしい。
See, this is the Eren that we know and love. This is why I think the Eren that we currently have is sealing himself away for whatever reason, because he knows that he has to in order to ensure that something is done, that he has to do something that no one's going to agree with.
夕日のせいだよ。
Because this is Eren. The Eren that we're currently dealing with isn't the same. It probably is the same Eren, but I don't know. I think maybe he's making himself out to be a hated figure so he doesn't have to fear the idea of losing anyone he loves and admires. Or because he knows that they're all going to eventually hate him for what he's about to do.
距離が近いから事前に知らされなかったらしい。
ジークの思惑が確定していない以上、俺たちは危険な状態にあるんだ。そして突然ジークの計画に乗ったエレン。
あ、エレンに見えたか。
Thank you.
俺は違うと思う。あいつはエレンじゃない。
Thank you,
もしあい
Connie.
つが俺たちじゃなく、腹違いの兄貴の方につくことがあるなら、
Something's not adding up.
あるならどうするの？
俺たちは奴を切る覚悟をしておく必要がある。
そんなことさせない。
お前もそっちにつくのかよ。
Mikasa will side with Eren regardless.
そんなことにはならないと思う。エレンは誰よりも私たちを思っている。みんなも分かっているはず。
I think Eren's doing whatever he can to protect the people he
だから
loves and cares
私
for
たち以外の
most.
外部に対して攻撃的になったのかもしれない。きっとその思いが強すぎたから。
それは違うぞ。かつてのあいつはいくらお前が強くても前線から遠ざけようとするやつだった。だがアルミンに軍港を破壊させ、お前を戦場に呼んだ。あいつが大事だと言った俺もコニーもサシャもだ。
それは
It's
私たち
such
が信頼
a
されてるから。
difficult situation.
実際私たちが行かなければ何もできなかった。
サシャが死ぬこともなかっただろうな。サシャが死んだ時エレンはどうしたと思う？
He laughed.
涙を流したと思うか？悔しがったと
But
思うか？
it's almost like the same laugh he had
笑い
when
やがった。
Hannes died,
一
though,
体何
in
がそんなにお
series
かしかったん
2.
だろうな。
Almost like a
サシャが死んだ
shock
ことのどこ
response.
が
I don't think he laughed because
説
it
明し
was
てくれよ、
funny.
ミカサ。なんでエレンは笑ったのか。
But I
エレ
can
ンのことは
understand
何
why
で
it
も
would
わかるん
piss
だろ
off Connie.
エレンと話そう。僕とミカサと3人だけで。
話し合ってどうする？もしジークと同じ目的だった。
It's weird that his perspective is suddenly
巨
changed.
人化の薬を入手した
Why?
兵団には選択肢がある。まさか
But I think it's to do with protecting the people he loves and cares for most.
エレンの始祖を継承する選択だ。
What? What? That was the entire episode? So Armin's proposing that if they can't trust Eren anymore, then they turn someone into a Titan to take Eren's abilities. But that's if they can't trust him anymore based on his goal. But what's caused him to shift his perspective is what's making me very curious here, because he was adamant that they wouldn't agree to Zeke's plan. But something in the time that he's been away has changed his mind. The time jumps between 2 years ago and now keep confusing and throwing me, which is why I was like, what do you mean his story is pregnant? I don't know if she actually is pregnant or if like it's a fake baby bump. Part of me thinks it's a fake baby bump, and part of me is like, I don't think you could really hide it or fake it, but she doesn't look happy. She looks depressed and angry and sad. She looks conflicted. She doesn't look happy at all. And if she was pregnant with someone she really cared about and had chosen, then she would be happy, surely. But she looks as if the mere idea is everything she doesn't want in life. That's why I'm kind of on the fence as to maybe she has got pregnant, because it does keep her safe, and like the longer Historia is indisposed, the safer she is, because she doesn't have to consume Zeke and become the Beast Titan, and then it allows them to also work out a plan as to how to prevent that from ever happening to begin with. But I don't know if she is actually pregnant or if it's just fake, but I think it'd be really, really hard to fake a baby bump. I'm glad Connie said the same thing I've been saying, that this doesn't seem like the same Eren that sat there and told his friends that he doesn't want them to become Titans because he cares about them so much, that they're all so important to him that he wants them to live long lives. That is the Eren that we've come to know. That's the Eren we've come to love. This Eren, I think, is still our Eren, but something is making him act up because there's a bigger plan in place. Maybe he knows that he's going to have to go against what his friends want in order to protect them. Maybe this is part of him distancing himself from those he cares about in order to protect them and keep them safe. That maybe he's worried that if he keeps them close and keeps them on side, then they will be at risk. Maybe he doesn't think that he can go ahead with what he needs to do if he allows his emotions to rule him, if he allows himself to feel sentiment to the people he cares most about. So maybe this is his way of withdrawing from them so that they can then hate him, and in turn gives him a reason for doing what needs to be done, because it's safer for them to hate him than for them to love him and side with him and potentially put their own lives at risk. So maybe he wants them to hate him, because in hating him, it makes it easier for him to go and do what needs to be done in order to ensure their safety, because he's not bogged down by sentiment and emotions, because they're not going to plead emotions and sentiment. They're not going to plead that he can't do it because he's so important to them. They're just going to either try and stop him or not prevent him from doing it. Maybe the idea of them hating him makes it easier for him to plan his next steps, because he knows that there's no going back, there's no point of return. So maybe in his mind, that hating me keeps them safe because they will then be against me. They'll not be on my side. So it keeps them away from me and what I'm about to do. And it also helps align them with the people that are already against me, paving the potential for peace, because they won't be on Eren's side, they won't be defending him, they won't be fighting by his side. In hating him, they detract themselves from him. So perhaps that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to push them away in order to protect them. He's trying to push them away because they are so important to him that he doesn't want to drag them into the shit he's about to do, because it could result in them dying and them becoming targets. I think that's what is happening here. I don't think it's because he suddenly decided he doesn't care about them. I think it's to make them dislike him, because it's easier that way to commit the atrocities he's gonna do if they dislike him. And he's gonna commit atrocities. We know that. He's literally threatened Hanji and said, nothing can hold me. None of you can stop me. So what are you actually going to do about it? Nothing. Eren has something up his sleeve. And this whole talk of the rumbling makes me think the rumbling is going to be a key feature, because it's been dropped into the conversation so many times the past couple of episodes. Eren's triggering the rumbling. 1000%, because why does it keep coming up? Eren was against it, and then I think now he's siding with Zeke, he's going to trigger the rumbling, or a smaller version of the rumbling, in order to test run it. Or maybe he just goes, fuck it. Just let them all have it, rumble away, and just doesn't even do a test one. But Eren also laughed at Hannes's death. And again, you have to wonder, is he laughing because he knows that it's gonna happen, and therefore, like, it's almost a apathetic response? Like, I knew this was going to happen, and no matter what I did, I couldn't change it. So he's almost laughing at himself and his own futile efforts to try and prevent those deaths from happening, because he laughed when Hannes died. And it wasn't laughter because he was callous and didn't care. It was almost like laughter out of frustration at the situation that he was in, that nothing he could do could change what happened. And I think it's similar with Sasha, that no matter what he did, he couldn't change that course of action. He couldn't prevent the loss of someone important to him that he cared for, to the extent that he wouldn't let her become the inheritor of his titan, because he wanted her to live a long life. So it's not that he didn't care about Sasha. I think it's the futility of the situation of doing all of this to potentially change the direction that the world is going in, only for it to not matter, because the world is just that cruel that it took someone important away from him again. That no matter what he does to try and change things, it doesn't prevent death from happening. And I imagine this conversation that Eren's having with them on the train is probably the last conversation he has with them before he makes the decision to go to Marley. But I want to know, because there is now insinuation that him and Zeke have spoken. When he said, do I not get to speak to Eren first? I thought it meant as in they hadn't spoken, but I think looking back, the way that it's phrased is probably, before you kill me, do I not get to speak to Eren? So this has confirmed that they have spoken, and something about their conversation has since changed his perspective, and now he's agreeing with Zeke. But maybe Zeke's initial plan isn't the full picture. Maybe Zeke's initial plan has changed slightly, and that's why he has agreed to it. Because what on earth has caused him to shift? Unless him and Zeke both know something that nobody else knows about, and that's why they're having to side with each other, because it's the only way to ensure that peace inevitably happens in the future. Maybe that's why they're working together, because again, they potentially know more than what they're letting on. Because again, Zeke is of the royal bloodline, also a subject of Ymir. Zeke could have had memories passed down the pathways too that we're not aware of. So I was kind of toying with the idea of either Grisha has had memories passed down to him and told Zeke to turn him in order to ensure that he's able to then go and do everything that he needs to do and for Eren to be born. Or maybe Zeke did it because that's the push he needed to give Grisha in order to ensure that that's what happened to lead to Eren being born. Maybe it was Zeke and not Grisha, but could be both. At this point in time, who fucking knows? It could be both. But there has to be something that's leading them to connect to one another. But it was saying that Historia approached him when he started helping out at the orphanage. She doesn't look very enthusiastic. It's almost like she's resigned that this is what she has to do to protect herself. And they're saying that they think it could be Yelena that's like forced her to do it, or not forced, but coerced her into doing it to protect herself. But she's doing it to protect Zeke because she's infatuated with Zeke. Doesn't look as if she's a willing, happy participant in getting a partner and getting pregnant. It looks almost as if like this is what she's been told she needs to do in order to survive. And she's resigned herself to doing it. I don't think it's real. I think it's a fake baby bump, but that's just me. I guess we'll soon find out. Eren's having to speak almost to himself to motivate him forward, because I think what he's going to go on to do is so heinous that he doesn't want to do it. And that's why he's telling himself fight, because he's pushing him. It's motivating him. I think he's pushing Hanji away because he wants to protect Hanji. And the only way to do that is to make her hate him. Again, I think he's doing the exact same thing with everyone else. He cares so deeply for them that I think he has to force them to dislike him, because then it puts them against him. It puts him as the enemy. And in putting him as the enemy, it aligns them with Marley and the other nations against Eren. It allows them to find another path to peace that doesn't just resort in war. So maybe this is potentially the avenue that he's trying to force them to take, is by making himself public enemy number one of everyone, including those that he loves and cares about most, to ensure that there is another option that isn't just replicating the same cycles as before. There's been a lot of insinuations, a lot of hints. I wonder how this is going to play out with Mikasa, finding out that she's the descendant of the lost ruler that was left behind on Paradise. I think she's not going to want that role. I think she's going to reject it. But again, the East seem like they're trying to take advantage of Paradise. They want to monopolize the resources in Paradise instead of genuinely allowing them to trade. So Paradise wouldn't be free. They would essentially be trapped into a one-way relationship with the East. The East gets to buy their assets, and yes, there's money coming in, and they're buying their resources, but at the same time, they're still then isolated from the rest of the world. They're still then not actually interacting with anybody else, and they're not able to branch out and establish their own freedom. They're trapped under the dictation of another nation. They're not actually able to determine that themselves. So it kind of seems like an unfair agreement. It seems like a very greedy agreement. Thinking back to series 1, you know when Mikasa's mother was like teaching her a pattern, and we didn't really see much of it, and she was like, one day you'll pass this on to your children, this is from her heritage. Was that alluding to the tattoo on Mikasa's arm then? Is that what it was linked to then, when she was saying that one day you'll pass this on to your children? I'm teaching you the pattern of our culture. It must be, because it's too similar. But it looks as if the East just want to use Paradise to restore them to their former glory instead of actually helping Paradise. It's for their own benefit. And of course, they wouldn't come here if it wasn't for their own benefit. But again, Paradise gets the unfair end of the bargain here. They're trapped in a one-way trade with another nation, and they don't have the freedom to then decide if they want to trade with others. They don't actually get to branch out and meet other nations, only the East, only this one ally, which then just perpetuates that narrative again that they're monsters because nobody else gets to know them. It's not exactly fair. I still can't believe I thought Zeke was proposing to Historia about having kids. That scared the life out of me. I was like, the idea of that is absolutely terrifying. Thankfully, that wasn't the case, but even more, the idea of her being breeding stock is even more heinous. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this plays out now, because this seems to be building to Eren doing something that's unforgivable to everyone that knows him. It seems to be building up to this final push that Eren is about to embark on something so heinous that nobody could justify it. And I'm scared as to what that's going to be, but I think it could be linked to the rumbling, just based on how much it's been hinted at. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next time, bye!